1, 2, 3, action. Yeah, what's up guys? Fahad here with Zah once again, and today we have Ah Siong here. How are you, Ah Siong?
Hey, fine.
Yes,
How are you?
Okay, we apologize because Ah Siong is more proficient in Malay, so maybe we campur a bit lah.
Yeah, campur.
But don't worry lah, there's subtitle for you guys. So anyway, we are at FTA Performance. We just want to ask our brother Ah Siong here.
Basically, high performance motorbike. This is the man. He has the knowledge from it because we did off camera. We talked to him about his background and then his story. He share his experience. He share. Wow, alamak, amazing ah. So I mean, this is coming from a perspective of a racing mechanic, you know, not normal workshop mechanic. This is a racing mechanic. The brother Ah Siong here will explain to us in more detail about what dyno testing is and how to improve the performance of your bike.
So Ah Siong want to ask ni dyno untuk siapa?
Okay, dyno actually is boleh check you punya horsepower, you punya motor punya respond everything dengan checking your fuel ratio. Kalau engine something wrong ke apa, fuel ratio running lean or rich, we have the machine, we have the sensor to detect all the figure. Too rich but also not so good. Okay, too lean but the wear and tear faster coming. Cepat zuo mau, maybe engine mau to rebuild already ke apa. Okay, tapi sekarang ada freshing ECU punya dengan install the fuel module to add more fuel and less fuel.
Berapa lama you guys have been providing this service?
How long in the business?
How long have you guys been in the business?
2016 until now.
Quite long, 4 years plus. This dyno actually, what is the misconception? Is it only for racing bike or high performance bike?
Tak. Sekarang new model punya motor semua sudah ada itu emission punya control for lean down the fuel to approve the emission for the Europe testing or what. Tapi if you modify something already but the ECU inside near itu mapping, dia tak boleh match. Tapi some ECU also cannot modify. But simple thing is you install this fuel module. In future, easy to remap and testing.
So like for example, my bike recently I tukar exhaust.
Tukar exhaust, tukar filter.
Need to do remap lah.
You can check in first.
Can check in.
Using the dyno to check the fuel ratio, everything running is too lean or too rich or what.
They not only do for high performance bikes, guys. They also do for like even scooter, Aerox also you guys got do.
Do the dyno fuel, sniper, everything have.
From when you like the bike go inside the dyno, what you guys usually check? What you guys usually see?
For the safety dia mesti mau check dia all the radiator piping ada ikat betul tak? For the engine dia got anything leaking, sprocket and the rear. More important is the behind the rear wheel everything. For the sprocket, for the tire, everything.
Mostly sprocket. Then what about emissions?
The exhaust punya asap.
Exhaust punya asap tak payah. Kita punya itu the room when you open the fan already, he will all suck all the lebih asap semua keluar lah.
So what is the benefit of doing a dyno test?
Okay, first is for the Singapore road, you only running the low RPM and the mid RPM. If you using the dyno already, we can test until red June RPM. See the high RPM, the engine, the performance, everything, the condition good or not. Okay. Yeah, another one more important is the fuel ratio. Sound. Sometimes when high RPM already, the engine have the sound. You also don't know.
See.
Yeah. When you riding on the road already, got anything something have the sound, you
cannot hear, right?
Cannot hear. The dyno got the sound already, we can see is what problem.
Quite true. I mean, most of the high performance motorbike, like they have what installed VTEC lah, and what other performance VAA. You know, you can only test this out at a higher RPM, you know. And then Singapore road 90 kilometers, 90 kilometers per hour. How you want to test?
Above 90 kena kecam already.
Above 90 je, pop, camera. So how to test? So I think dyno, it's a good place to try out the.
He's the owner, by the way, but he don't want to be featured lah.
Not he say, people say.
People say he's the best, no? Most of you guys usually deal with high performance bike, but just now we spoke that you actually do Aerox scooter also. What are the benefits for like smaller bikes to do dyno?
Okay, actually for the small bike, but now some people like to modify the engine.
Yeah.
But he will modify the engine already, confirm the fuel ratio he cannot match. You need to upgrade the racing ECU or maybe or performance ECU. You need 100% you need to do using the dyno tune. If you're using the auto tune, very difficult to control by which RPM and which throttle. Very difficult to concentrate to complete the mapping. In the dyno, I no need to worry the safety. You know, more important is concentrate the RPM, the throttle, and the bike. Something wrong, he will feedback for you. The bike jerk, no power, and the bike is very heavy already.
That's interesting. I mean, it really opened up to. I mean, usually when we ride bike, we just never think about all this. Yeah, right, but never think about the fuel consumption, all this and all that. So, like for the bike, if you determine that okay, the fuel ratio is there's something wrong and all that, you need to install the fuel
Module.
Fuel module. How would you program the fuel module to like make sure the right amount of fuel is going into the intake?
Okay, the dyno machine, you have the sensor. And we run the bike ready. When the exhaust pipe come out of the carbon nozzle, he got give me the figure is now the fuel ratio is what volume. Yeah, we direct to control by the fuel module to add in the number bigger and smaller to less and more. Yeah, but have the sensor to detect. Cannot using or no. Yeah, the sensor is more accurate. And if our human, you want to test the bike rich or lean,
You cannot sense.
For track performance, how you guys configure the ECU or the fuel mapping?
track performance actually for the high RPM is much tuning more richer a little bit. Yeah, much richer a bit.
So
Yeah,
you guys-
but for the low RPM actually is leave it to zero mapping or what. Only the mid RPM and high RPM. Yeah, for the Singapore route, for the normal bike, we concentrate is a low speed. Very important is a low speed. Because very difficult tuning one is Singapore bike on Singapore road because too many on and off. Yeah, you might have the response. If I give you the high RPM is very good horsepower, but the low end is very fucked up one. you know. Yeah, you must stop in the traffic light already. When you open the throttle, it's smooth and more response. This one, all the people in this one.
I see.
Say, now your bike is 200 horsepower, but every day you ride, you're very fed up. Jerk, no power, and every time you want to drop gear to more throttle or what.
How do you judge the bike's wear and tear based on this?
Sometimes we check the horsepower first. The engine base horsepower, roughly how much. After we run the bike already, we can machine confirm have the plus and minus one. Yeah, different by maybe few percent is okay. If drop maybe until horsepower or 10 horsepower already, we need to check the combustion. Check the got any leaking or not for the engine, the piston or what, the valve.
So, what are the problems that you face when you want to do, if somebody wants to do the dyno test or flash the ECU?
Modified.
Huh?
He modified the engine. Maybe he modified the engine. The upgrade the exhaust, fuel ratio. The upgrade maybe the air filter or what. Yes, you need to using the dyno to test first. Check the fuel ratio first. Another one is the mileage already high. Mileage already high already. You also don't know the engine condition already down.
How would normal bikers like us set up our bikes to improve the performance? Like we're not racing for the track lah, just on the road only, stop traffic.
Actually, you have this fuel module to adjust the fuel, let him smooth everything. Already enough. Already enough. Because you changing the air filter, changing the exhaust, you still need to using the fuel module to touch up to remap.
How was your recommendation for like riders? Like how many months or every few months to go for this dyno service?
Or if you have this fuel module ready, every maybe 35,000 or 40,000, you need to do the valve clearance check or what, you can check one more time the condition. And you don't need every time to run one. Maybe you're changing the exhaust pipe. Today you're changing full system, next day you're changing slip on. Okay, maybe you need to do the tuning.
That one this guy only lah. So how much is the service and how can normal riders maybe book a session with you guys?
For the testing the fuel ratio and check the horsepower, we charging is 120 to 140 all in. Okay, if you install the fuel, you have the fuel module already, you want to do the remap. Fuel remap or initial timing remap, also different pricing. 200 plus or 300 plus. If the ignition and the fuel, two map, roughly is a 500. Yeah, depend the cylinder.
I see.
Oh, final question. Do you recommend everybody to do this or not? To do this? To go for ECU remap or...
Or is there any bike that cannot go?
If can, I think must check. You check first. Check the fuel ratio first. Now your bike, the fuel ratio is running lean or rich, and you can consider or you want to install this fuel module to control your fuel.
So guys, just to let you know, maybe you guys can consider this lah if you want to improve your bike performance as opposed to the yearly inspection that you have to do at STA. This is a plus point lah. I think it's very good from what Ah Siong has spoke. Alright guys, so we're gonna send Emelina for her own dyno servicing. Maybe we'll just give you a sample on what they actually do inside here. I have to say it's really impressive. Actually guys, to be frank, I'm kind of nervous right now. I don't know what to expect from this dyno servicing, and we're gonna see how Emelina really performs on through the computer. I don't know why I'm so nervous.
Why, sir?
I don't know.
He's the one riding, right?
Dia dah macam an extreme level of the inspection center at STA. So I think Ah Siong is setting up the sensors that's gonna measure all of the outputs from the bike. I no words can really describe what's happening to my bike right now.
Kamu nak tahu juga how it feels like inside a dyno testing unit.
It's like as if I'm going through a space shuttle engine testing, you know. Seriously, sir.
Need to check the fuel ratio. Okay, we need to install this collar piping to suck the carbon. To transfer here. This one is the sensor, the O2 sensor. When the computer will show the number lean or rich or accurate or not.
guys. So we just completed the dyno testing for Emelina. He said a few things inside. I don't know if it's recorded or what. But once the bike goes out, then we're gonna discuss on
You will explain in detail lah, because otherwise it's too noisy, you know, cannot be recorded.
Okay, for this graph, it's a horsepower. And they're detect by the rear view. Detect by rear view. Okay. This graph is for the top. The Newton meter calculation is a Newton meter or maybe kg or what? The Newton meter. How many top? Okay, from the 3005 RPM, we just saw the record already. Very smooth. But the fuel ratio is running is very rich already because the number, you can see the number. Okay, for the high RPM and the faster speed, the air fuel ratio we can tune until 13, no problem. For the accurate one, for the high speed one, we can tune in by 13 is okay. 13.1, 13.2 also no problem. But now we can see the 4005 RPM go down until 12, 11. Very rich already. Okay, if we can tune until for 13, the horsepower I think is more nicer. Maybe can up another 2-3 horsepower.
So basically the bike right now is using up a lot of fuel lah.
Lot of fuel is you full throttle because for the emission control is only the 0 throttle to 25 to 40% throttle is an emission. Okay, above 40% throttle already, your ECU he will spray more fuel to take care of the engine. Yeah, but we can install the fuel module already. We can lean down the fuel.
I want to install lah.
Makan minyak kuat eh.
Itulah.
Kalau you every time you know 40 throttle above me actually makan minyak kuat. Emission control only for the 40 throttle below for the emission, and the fuel ratio numbers would be 14.7 to 15.
I see.
So basically, what he's saying is that Emelina on high revs, right, he's using up a lot of fuel, and this is surprising for me because I've always regarded the NC as a fuel saving bike, but to go into such detail with the dyno testing, right? Oh my god, it's like wow, I didn't know.
Surprising,
that. So I don't know. I'm really surprised that the NC that my Emelina really. Is a fuel guzzler at high revs.
Maybe because the manufacturer has already designed the ECU to be optimally fuel saving at certain RPM only, based on GT riding.
Yeah, so I may consider even putting a
fuel saving
fuel module.
Too rich already. Your piston atas dia banyak carbon. Pun tak bagus punya. Because dia punya angin masuk kurang. Masuk angin kurang, tapi minyak too many. Dia betul-betul mau combust, dia tak boleh 100% combust sampai clear. Dia masih ada simpan itu fuel di dalam become carbon.
Ah Siong, what you recommend me to do for my bike? with based on the results that we did just now, that you did just now.
100% you need to install. You're too rich already. Low end too lean, high end too rich. Yeah.
Okay, I might just install. Okay, so Ah Siong, if I were to install this fuel module, how many percent of fuel I can estimated to save?
Also depend your riding. If you're riding very aggressive one, the throttle control you control by very hard. The bike also, very rich one. If you're riding smooth, you can compare before and after. You can feel, I think for the low RPM, 5 to 8%, no problem.
I see. Okay lah. So I may consider just installing a fuel module and Emelina, and maybe we'll be back to FTA to install the fuel module. But Ah Siong, for now, thank you so much for showing us what the dyno is all about. I mean, this is very interesting. I mean, not many riders know about this. Yeah. Yep. Anything you want to say?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alright, we'll see.
Okay.
That's it for the vlog. Any riders want to review the bike us, do get in touch with us on our social media pages below.
Do like any comments and suggestion, feedbacks you like to bring forward, put them in the comment section below. Like and share this video with your riding kakis, and don't forget to subscribe.
And once again, Ah Siong, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And We will see you in the next one.